So hi guys, today we're going to have a look at solo for the Cryx faction of War Machine from Privateer Press. This is one of the newer releases. This is a Warwitch Siren. We've got the blister here, as you can see, with all the parts in it. But what I've done is I've already assembled one and put a bit of ink on it just to make things a bit quicker so that we can get straight in and have a look at the figure. So if we have a look there, you can see this arm came separately, as did these spikes at the back. There was quite a small join, but they were reasonably easy to put together. They held just with glue, rather than having to putty them this time. And there was another section on her sort of hat helmet type thing that needed slotted in the back. It needed a bit of putty as well as the glue just to hold it, because it had just a bit of a finer join than perhaps the rest of them. Also, this sculpt doesn't come with a tab to stick it into its slaughter base. It actually just has a flat base at the bottom, just so you can super glue it onto the base itself, or perhaps onto a scenic base if you wanted to sculpt a scenic base with it. So we can just have a look there and see there's some quite fine details, lots of cloth, lots of fine armor plates and little details for you to paint up there. Probably it'll work well with a wash if you're doing just maybe a lighter color of, say, well, perhaps maybe a dark grey, and then wash over it with a darker black in order just to bring it out. It would probably work quite well, but it could well be that this one might be a bit difficult for someone to paint if you're not up to a reasonably good standard. I mean, it's quite a fiddly model. It's got quite a lot of details, and it's quite fine. But let's have a look and see how it plays in the game. Here's the Warwitch's card. Now, if we go across, we can see that she's quite fast with a speed of 7. Her melee attack and rat 5-4, so not great, but not bad either. She doesn't have any ranged attacks, so really it doesn't matter that her rat's only 4. Defensive 15, that's good. That's going to be reasonably difficult to hit. Armor 13, it's so-so, not too bad. The chances are you might manage to shrug off some light hit, like maybe something, perhaps an axe or something from a Cador Winter Guard or something like that. And command of 9, so that's a good elite command. As you can see, she's got stealth, as you would imagine from a War Witch, a magical weapon, and reach. Power of her weapon there is 11. That's not too shabby at all. So let's have a look at some of the powers on the back. She's a magic user, which is always good. As we go down here, you'll see that a lot of the abilities that she has are very similar to another War Witch that you may have come across, perhaps in the starter set, and that's Warwitch de Negra. So what we have here is a Power Booster. This is one of the new abilities that was brought out in Mark II that allows this solo to give a free focus to a Warjack that hasn't been given any focus this turn. So effectively that's going to help your Warjack out, or your Warcaster out a bit when controlling some of your Warjacks. With Cryx, I don't know, perhaps one of the light Warjacks, like a Death Ripper or one of your other Arknode Jacks, put that focus on it, let it run up the field, saving your focus then on your Warcaster to cast spells, rather than having to control some of those Jacks and get them there a little bit quicker. Then we have Seduction. So if an enemy's in base-to-base contact with her, she can use Seduction, which allows you to take control of that enemy model. It has to be a warrior model, mind you, so it's not a Warjack or a Warcaster or a Warlock or anything you're using your Seduction on here. It has to be a warrior, but you get to make a full advance with it and an attack. So, I mean, if anything else, it's going to get something out of melee combat with her if she's in base-to-base. Would you ever use it as an attack form? I don't know. I think possibly I would maybe charge with her with her range and with her extra reach on her weapon, rather than actually using Seduction. I would use Seduction more as a defense rather than anything else. And she has Venom, which is, as we know, is a spray that a lot of other Warcasters and other things have. In Cryx, it's their general spray attack that does corrosion. So just checking out whatever she has parry, so she ignores free strikes whenever she moves. So rather than using Seduction, of course, you could just run out of combat in that case. I don't know whether Seduction's worth it then. And her Shadow Blade itself has Shadow Bind that will knock 3 defense off. And when the enemy advances, it cannot move except to change facing. So Shadow Bind on her sword, I'm afraid I think that's much superior to using Seduction on anything. A debuff of -3 defense and you can't move. That's great. I would have her charge with her 7 speed, so she's going to charge 10 inches, 12 inches with her bit of reach, so 10 and then another reach of 2 inches, and put Shadowbind onto something with her mat of 5. Yeah, I would go for that. That's a really good 2-point debuff solo, just simply to use that Shadowbind. If I couldn't get her to charge on something, I would definitely be moving that 7 speed and probably trying to use Venom to blast something rather than using any of those other abilities. I honestly think that Seduction is a bit of a filler rather than anything else. Power Booster, of course, is always going to be useful just to throw out that extra focus. But once she starts getting towards the front lines, it's going to be using Venom and using Shadowbind to debuff stuff. So, do you agree? Is that what you would do? Do you think Seduction's fantastic and it should be used all the time? Or do you think, like I do, that pretty much Shadowbind and Power Booster are what you're going to be spending your 2 points buying this girl for? So, drop some comments below and tell me what you think of the Warwitch Siren.